It's about bloody time that I made a video that's actually related to my work on Instagram that a large majority are here to see. So today we're finally jumping into an episode or jumping into a video that is somewhat related or definitely related to my most popular images on Instagram. So if you know what those are, lucky you. But if not, if I'm a new face, if this is the first time that you're seeing me, my name is Tom Noske. I'm a photographer, videographer, and filmmaker I'm a photographer, videographer, and filmmaker. Good one, Tom. I'm a photographer, digital artist, and filmmaker from Melbourne, Australia. And these images that I'm about to teach you how to create today are probably my most popular image. No, in fact, they are my most popular images that I post on my Instagram. This was from a shoot about 4 days ago, less than a week ago, with my good friend and the only subject on my portrait account, Maddie Gilbert. So it was a shoot that we set out to take because I love taking these photos. I love creating these photos, and I posted one about a week before that shoot, and it was the first time in a while that I've created one. I sort of decided, I was like, people are probably getting sick of these, but decided anyway, and you guys seem to absolutely love it. So I thought, screw it, I'm going to double down, see what I can do. And I'd actually set out to go and shoot up the coast for this particular shoot. And then I realized I was walking home one night, and I realized that the beach that is literally 100 meters that way, if you time it perfectly with low tide, low wind, overcast skies, is the perfect spot to create these images. So when I realized it was low wind, low tide, and overcast skies, I gave Maddie a call. She was free, and we went down for a shoot. Now, I've actually shot the introduction to this video last week before we went down to the shoot, but I stupidly shot it out there, and there's an air vent, and the audio is terrible. And I know, I should be focusing on the content, but if I had to release that video, it would have crushed my soul. So what we're going to do is, this is the intro to the video. I'm going to cut back to in the past Tom. So this is future Tom. That's old Tom. We're going to cut back to old Tom, or younger Tom than old. We're going to cut back to that version of Tom, and he's going to take us through the shoot, and then we're going to come back and talk about how we edited those images, because I got a couple finished here. He hasn't seen them yet, but I've seen them, and they're fucking good. So I'm psyched to show you guys those. So I'll see you once old Tom's or younger Tom's had a chat to you. Right, we're down here. I think Maddie's somewhere behind me, over there. We're gonna shoot just here. So this is what I was talking about with the reflections. We're hoping to get Maddie in the middle, just here, and then have complete reflections on either side. So we're gonna shoot, see how it works, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. You guys will see some B-roll now.
Wash over me, let me fall from my surroundings. Take over me, over every rushing memory. If only for a moment. Oh, this could be my last chance. Sail on with me, up here we know we're safe from the crashing wind. And talk to me from the lungs of the air, your heart is beating. If only for a moment. Oh, this could be my last chance.
All right, so like I said, it's been about 4 or 5 days. I had a chance to go ahead, check out the images, and edit a couple that I'm so happy with these photos. I really wanted to post one tonight, but I decided that I'm like, all right, I'm going to post an extra video this week just so you guys can click straight away onto the YouTube video and figure out how I edited them, because honestly, I'm very happy with these images, and I haven't even had a chance to even look at all of them, let alone edit all of them. So now this was the first image that I fell in love with. It was just, I absolutely love it. It's not my favorite image that I took, but it was definitely one of my favorite images that I've ever taken. The reflection was amazing. I took it on my 85 1.4 at 1.4, so it's just dreamy as hell. And then Maddie just, if you live in Melbourne and you want a model that's just kills it, that absolutely bangs it out of the park every single time I shoot with her, pick Maddie, because her posing and her expression and everything about what she does is amazing. I want you guys to leave in the comments down below if you think these images are good. Maddie doesn't have an Instagram specific for her modeling. She actually doesn't share any of her modeling anywhere. I'm the only person she shoots with, and I've been begging her to start her own Instagram page and start sharing her modeling work because it is absolutely amazing. So leave down in the comments, Maddie, please start modeling. So this is the first photo that I absolutely love, and what I've gone and done is I've turned it into this image here. Now I'm happy with this image, but I don't love this image. I think I could have done a little bit better with the blending. I think the image could have been a little bit better suited. I don't know what it was about this. I really love the sky, and that's something that you need to learn how to do with these edits is be continuously making skies. That's the best way to do these because those are the most valuable thing when creating these. Yes, the subject is important to capture, but if you're not building out the actual environments to put your subject in, you'll get caught with heaps and heaps and heaps of images of subjects and nowhere to put them. So I actually made this sky a few months ago. I made it for another image and I absolutely love it, but I think I was just trying to push a square peg in a round hole for this particular edit. I think I really wanted to use this sky and wasn't really thinking about how well it was going to match. Now the first thing I want to teach you guys with this one is masking your subject. Now I've got a little quick video playing now of how I actually masked out Maddie. A lot of people say use select and mask, and I got heaps of comments last time I made this video saying use select and mask. If you're using select and mask for people, pull your head in and start using the pen tool. Take your time with your mask selections. Taking your time is what's going to make your selections look realistic, because if you're rushing through the selection, then that's going to throw out your entire image. If you nail your selection, that's 99% of the battle with compositions or composites, is actually nailing your masking of your subject and making sure that there is no rough edges, making sure they're smooth, making sure they look like they should be in that environment. And that's what I've done for Maddie. And you'll notice when I zoom in here, and it's much, much better on the next image, which I'll show you guys in a sec, but I've actually individually painted in her hair again. Now I find that with masking out hair, especially when you're shooting with something like an 85 1.4, it can create some banding around the hair because the hair is such a dark color and then it moves into extreme highlights, especially if it's backlit at sunset. So it can be very, very difficult to mask it well. So what I do instead is I mask a little bit more of the hair away, and then I go and I sample the color like I'm playing over now. I sample the color and then I actually paint back through. Now I'm going to show you guys how to create that custom brush. Now this is actually one of the first custom brushes that I think you guys should be creating for Photoshop. It's a very, very easy custom brush to make, and it's extremely, extremely valuable. It can't just be used for hair, it can be used for a whole bunch of things. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a nice brush. I'm going to go over to the layer that's responsible for the hair, and you'll see if I toggle this on and off how much of an impact it has on making Maddie look like she's really gelling in with the environment. And all you have to do is go ahead and go over to the brush size. You want something that's nice and soft, so I say about 10%, and then you're going to go over to the brush settings just here. You're going to go over to brush settings, and you're going to turn shape dynamics and make sure that pen pressure is selected here. Now this is something that you definitely need a Wacom tablet for. I made a video a few weeks back about my Wacom tablet. If you're doing portraiture or if you want to do composites, you need this tablet because it is going to make masking so much easier, because you'll actually be able to get in there and paint and make it look a lot more realistic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate that. Now that's it. That's the custom brush made. You can go ahead and save that, but I just do it every single time. I do have custom brushes saved. And you know what? What I might do for this video is I'm going to save that custom brush. I'm going to turn it into a preset, and I'm going to chuck it in the link in the description below for you guys to download for free. But again, if you can't follow the steps, come on, what are you doing? So all I've done for this is I'm going to turn off this layer and I'm going to add a new layer in. And I've just gone ahead with a brush that is close to 100% flow, so something like 85, I would say. A brush that's nice and small, and all I've done is gone in and painted back the hair. Now this file size is 2.5 gigs, so my computer's struggling fair bit now, but you get the idea of what it does. Turning on pen pressure, all it means is as you move, it works like a pencil essentially. As you get to the end of the stroke, you can begin to lift and it feathers out that brush and makes it look a lot more natural. If you're doing it normally, Photoshop, even on the softest brush settings, has really hard edges and it doesn't look realistic. So that's how I've edited this image. Now after that, I've gone ahead, and if you've watched any of my other videos, I've used layered color correction for here. All that's done is just changed a little bit of the color, made it a little bit more intense. I've added another color mask and just gone over her. So I've added a mask on Maddie, and that's made a pretty substantial difference. That's essentially the same thing: selective color, color balance, and hue saturation. I've added a tone image. Now again, that is another powerful tool, but again, it's a video that I've made in the past, so I'm going to have all these linked above. So all that one is a whole bunch of adjustments with levels. So all they are is matching, and I've added masks to make sure I'm not selecting and selecting Maddie. And then all I've done is I've got my Lightworks group, and I've added my colored light, which is just my custom gradient, which is just these colors here. If you guys want me to make, I've been thinking about this for a while. If you guys want me to make like a Photoshop Actions pack for my website that you guys can buy, I'll have it up for like $5 because they're really not difficult to make. But I feel like it's a lot better once you've got them saved. Then yeah, I'll have it up for like, $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever, maybe even $10. Just for all the custom like presets and stuff that I use in Photoshop. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments, because I've been thinking about doing it for a while, and I think it'd be really valuable for you guys. So all it is a white, a yellow, an orange, a reddish orange, and then a gray at the end. Turn on to radial, 135 angle, 135 scale on a soft light layer, and I've just added 2 of those at different opacities to bring in a little bit of colored light, because I find if you add exposure, it just ends up being white and doesn't look that good. I've added shadows, so I've just painted in the corner here, and then I've added light, and I've done that the same way that my video that is linked above, I've done that just like that. So all I've done is I've gone in and added a curves and a color balance adjustment. So the curves is just adding light, and the color balance is just adding a little bit of orange. And then I've gone ahead and added a mask to that group, and then I've painted back that light. So if I turn off that mask now, you'll notice what that's done. It's essentially like focused that light that I've added just to that corner of that image. After that is essentially just another color adjustment, but that one hasn't changed it too much. And then I've used frequency separation. I'm going to be making a whole video about this because it is quite a complicated tool. It's usually used for retouching images, especially portraits, but I use it when images start to get a little bit of banding. And if you've seen my Instagram, I've been getting a few comments lately from people wondering how I don't have any banding on my images. This is how I do it. So if you look at this before I've added the frequency separation, you'll see that it's starting to decay a little bit here. And that's just because this is a massively upscaled image to try and fit. And that was one of the issues that I found when shooting with an 85, is I was ready to mimic the blur or the background blur, but I wasn't ready to mimic the compression that an 85 creates. So I had to blow the skies that I would normally use way, way up to make them fit naturally to an 85mm lens. So yeah, that's essentially it. As far as adding the reflection, that's probably the simplest part. I've just gone and I've added, so if I turn off this mask here, that's just a normal layer at 45%, and then for the reflections, I've just gone a soft light layer at 100% with a mask, and make sure that the mask is the same on all these layers. So all you have to do that is drag holding the Alt to the next one, and it'll replace the mask with the exact same mask. That's a good tip. Make sure that your masks are the same, because you don't want to be painting in the same thing. That's useless. So soft light layer at 100%, a hard light layer at 75%, and a soft light layer at 60%. Now, again, this is completely customized to this image. I change those settings on every single image that I edit. So don't really pay attention to that. More pay attention to the fact that I've used a soft light and a hard light layer. Don't really pay attention to the numbers. If you mimic the numbers, it's going to look different on every image. So yeah, that's how I've edited this image here. Now the second image that I fell in love with, and I should have edited from the start, is this image here. This is by far my favorite image, probably one of my favorite images I've ever taken. It was perfect, absolutely perfect for this. We were sort of a little bit disappointed by, the heavy clouds and not much light, but looking back in hindsight, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect because it's created like a a giant soft box on Maddie, and I can add the contrast later. You can't take the contrast away. So it made it very, very easy for me to edit. And what I've done with this image is I've turned it into, and this is the first time I've ever done this, is I just removed the horizon for the first one. And I'm super, super happy with how this turned out because it looks super, super dreamy. Now, just because I've removed the horizon doesn't mean that I didn't need to mask Maddie out. I've done the exact same process. If you actually look over here, I've actually completely masked, if it wants to work, going down here, I've actually completely masked Maddie out. So that's just Maddie's mask. And then if I go up here, I've used the same technique for the hair. And you'll notice how much of a difference that makes, even to the mask on its own. So if I turn on the background again, you'll notice how much of a difference that makes to how real that mask looks. Honestly, this is one of the best techniques. I'm going to make a whole video about masking hair and doing this sort of painting technique, but it's one of the best techniques I've discovered for masking. And then, yeah, this is the first edit that I created with this one. Super simple. It's sort of utilizing what I already had as far as assets in the image. The next one that I've made is using the same background as the last, and I think this image worked slightly better because I could add the contrast in post. If I zoom into Maddie here, you'll notice how much contrast I've actually had to add to her in particular to make that work, but I think it's worked really, really nicely as far as making her blend in with that. But I do prefer this one a lot more still, just because it looks more natural. And then this is my favorite edit and the one that I wanted to post tonight, but you guys are going to be seeing tonight when you watch this. It was last night that I shot this. So this is the edit that I am absolutely falling in love with. This is by far my favorite horizonless edit I've ever made, just because it like perfectly encapsulates what I'm going for with these edits. Like I'm not necessarily going for something that looks realistic. I am going for that sort of surrealism look where it looks realistic, but it's surreal enough that it doesn't look real. Like, you know it's not real, but in your head you're like, damn, is that real? It's not even so much that, it's more like the combination of the fog and then the combination of the sky and then the soft colors and the pinks. I am absolutely in love with this image. And then Maddie is just popping out of the image. The reflection is looking stunning. I'm so goddamn happy with this image. I'm so incredibly happy with this image. So yeah, that was how I edited that one, and I've edited that one the exact same way. If I go through this, all but without the frequency separation, because I found that I didn't need the frequency separation. And I actually, as far as the fog, just want to clarify as well, I added that before I made the sky. So I've actually added that, and that's a good tip as well. Don't add your fog in post. I think that's a mistake that I've never seen anyone make it, but I can imagine people making it, is they add the fog after they've already made the sky. You got to imagine that the fog's above the surface, and if the fog is above the surface, it's going to reflect below the surface. So if your fog is being added afterwards, it's going to look just a little bit off and make your viewer feel like, oh, that doesn't look real, does it? So I've added that first and then duplicated the sky and dropped that down. If you want to know how I'm not going to go into detail again because I've already made a video about these edits. I was more wanting to go into specific detail about this one. If you want to know how I make these edits, I'll have it up in the cards. I actually made a video late last year about how I actually make the skies for these edits. They're super simple to make. It's probably the easiest part of this entire thing. So yeah, if you want to watch that, it'll be up in the cards and it'll be the first link in the description. So yeah, I am absolutely stoked with these images. I'm incredibly stoked with every single one of these images, and I hope you guys enjoyed them as much as I did. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed any of the videos that I've been putting out recently, I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. And if you're one of the few that's stumbling across this video without finding me on Instagram first, head over to my Instagram, it's @TomNoske, and check out the images that I posted. And give this one a like. I'm going to be posting this image at the same time as I post this video. So if you're watching this video and you haven't seen my Instagram before, it's @TomNoske. Head over there, check it out, and I'll see you guys over there. But as always, until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one.
show.